Extraordinary animal discoveries. Number 15. Elephant death rites. Elephants live in societies with distinct cultures that are separated only by death or displacement, protecting people and animals in times of need, even painting and using plants for medicines. Upon a member of a family or tight-knit social group dying, they will be quietly investigated, covered with leaves and grass and mourned, sometimes for days, even weeks. They have even been observed to bury other animals, including the most dangerous predators they face, humans. These altruistic animals are praised for their wisdom for good reason, often participating in art and music, even documented to remember melodies years after learning them. The Thai Elephant Orchestra is comprised of improvisational musicians only, requiring only minimal handler participation in its recordings. Pratida is allegedly the musical star, one of the drummers. A human orchestra has played the elephants' composed recordings once transcribed and arranged, with audiences amusingly, but seriously guessing at the composer with names like John Cage and Charles Ives. Number 14. Just frickin' tiny. The Akmelanana is the world's smallest land snail. Discovered in Borneo, these brave miniature critters probably reside in the cracks of limestone, sucking up fungi and bacteria films. The cute little snails are less than a millimeter tall, previously only leaving their shells behind for researchers to find. Number 13. Bone worms. These oceanic worms lack any orifices, instead digesting bones of the deceased through absorption. Often called bone-eating worms, bone worms, or zombie worms, the Osedac secretes a type of acid to liquefy nutrients for absorption. The males of the species can only ever hope to be larval passengers in the jelly of the tube surrounding a female, with up to 100 males along for the ride on any given female. Number 12. Feeding your boa constrictor. The cute snakes in many aquariums are capable of some incredible contortion, as evidenced in this 2013 photograph of a large boa snake devouring a howler monkey whole 76 minutes after first attacking, crushing, and suffocating it. The monkey had wandered off from the main group, which often spells death for the primates, though primates are thought to be not hunted by predators very often. Number 11. Carnivorous sponge. Reminiscent of a horror house version of Hanukkah's candelabra, the deep-sea harp sponge rakes the current with its presence, feeding on tiny crustaceans that get stuck in the tiny fishhook barbs that cover its limbs, which appear more like cactus twigs. The brightly colored streetlight balls on top of them are actually filled with sperm and are released in reproduction to catch the velcro twigs of other nearby sponges for egg fertilization. Number 10. Millipede mayhem. There are plenty of people around who are scared of insects, and the millipede is among the most strikingly frightening, unless it's a typical roly-poly pill bug. Often much larger than anticipated, reaching lengths of up to 16 inches, millipedes often have hundreds of legs, numbering as many as 750 on species like the Alacme plenipes, which is only a few centimeters long. Ancient species have been discovered that grew over 2 meters long. Number 9. Eating each other. Cannibalism is a practice not well regarded and not often found among humans, while other primates have often been documented eating each other, as scientists found out when studying the small gray mouse lemur. The American Journal of Primatology published the paper that found a cute, cuddly, little male mouse lemur gorging on the scrumptious carcass of a deceased female gray mouse lemur. How adorable! Number 8. Biological immortality. It is a common belief that all life born necessarily dies, growing more likely with age. Some plants and animals and various other organisms defy the traditionally held myths, however, setting fantastic examples for us in nature and inspiring researchers in medicine and weapons to apply some of these extraordinary capabilities to human health and longevity of life. Negligible senescent things, like the centimeter-long freshwater hydra, some tortoises and even turtles like the eastern box turtle, and some sturgeon and rough-eye rockfish, live without evidence of aging, their death rates not increasing with age. Negative senescence also exists, where the likelihood of dying decreases with age, with evidence appearing in organisms like the moss campion, several types of algae, most trees, some fish, and possibly some reptiles and amphibians, and even a few mollusks. Number 7. X-mice. The African spiny mouse species, Acamis kempi and Acamis percivali, have fragile epidermis, which is actually a natural defense against predators, enabling the animals to abandon large patches of skin like salamanders might shed a leg to escape capture by a predator. Far from the typical scar tissue, however, follicles, sweat glands, cartilage, and fur is regenerated like everyone's favorite X-Man, Wolverine, representing the first observed tissue regeneration in mammals, though researchers have long theorized that mammals would possess some of the same regenerative genes found in reptiles. Number 6. Escape pod. A paper published in the Journal of Experimental Biology, red-eyed tree frog embryos use an ejaculation of enzymes from their noses to escape from imminent destruction, the little green frogs flopping away from danger to live as tadpoles. Here's an example as a wasp feeds on the embryos. The same process is witnessed when under duress from a snake as well. The embryos tell the difference between harmless vibrations and possible harm. The red-eyed tree frog embryos, which hatch in around a week without disturbances, will hatch after beginning just 4 days of development if they sense danger. Though a raindrop will not cause them to hatch, early flooding will. Number 5. Biology's Spaghetti Monster. The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, a satirical organization, has a real-life mascot in the noodly Bathyphysa conifera, another deep-sea invertebrate. A siphonophore, which is a single animal comprised of a colony of many different organisms serving various essential functions, this jellyfish-like animal was found floating off the coast of Angola. Number 4. Dancing spiders. Peacock spiders are notorious for their sweet, risque dance moves when mating, incorporating a variety of improvised or naturally choreographed maneuvers, often shaking their abdomens, utilizing their best impressions of John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever, and performing mechanical-looking moves that rival any talented dancer's version of the infamous robot. The Australian type, nicknamed Sparkle Muffins, have bright red and blue iridescent striped markings, looking like the brightly colored fashions and accessories of generations of bipedal dancers, many of which may have been inspired by the peacock spider to begin with. Number 3. Penguins. Those frisky, flightless birds sure are cute, sliding around on ice and waddling around, reminding us of unfortunate little humans. Penguins are typically relatively monogamous, though the equivalents of divorce and infidelity are common, with many females even prostituting themselves in exchange for nest stones and food. Penguins are native to the southern hemisphere, feeding on various sea life and spending about half their time underwater. Number 2. Killer shrimp. In a physics-defying claw strike that can kill even if it misses, the mantis shrimp defeats its prey, appearing more like a kung fu guru in its bodily capabilities than a cartoon crustacean, as it dismembers challengers and victims alike with beautiful, merciless rainbow abandon. The mantis smashes targets with the same force as a small bullet in a rapid amount of time, so rapid that the water around them boils, the collapsing bubbles that form in the cavity producing off-fatal shockwaves and emitting small bursts of light in their solo luminescence. Sometimes those targets are even aquarium glass, which doesn't end well for the glass. The mantis shrimp wields 16 separate distinct color-receptive cones in their eyes, detecting ultraviolet light and polarized light both as well as multispectral images, while humans see with just 3 types of color-receptive cones. The shrimp can even adjust its vision for its environment. Number 1. Scarlet Witch. Tortopsis dorni, or the scarlet jellyfish, is one of the sea's greatest discoveries, one of the few animals who live in perpetuity. When injured, sick, stressed, or just growing old, they sink to the ocean floor before transforming, reversing their aging all the way back into a polyp, or an infantile jellyfish. Through cellular transdifferation, its cells converting into whatever types it requires to rejuvenate and be born anew. Water that is too cold, starvation, and bells that are just too large appear to restrict the process. The scarlet jellyfish usually just floats around, apparently in no hurry, which makes sense when it has literally all the possible time on this planet in the future. Researcher Shin Kubota has been working with the tiny jellyfish, smaller than a pinky fingernail at their largest, for 2 decades. In addition to once writing a column featuring a unique jellyfish to introduce each week, Kubota has recorded his lab colony of Turtopsis rebirth itself in as little as a month's time.